We are going to be doing a new monthly game dev challenge where that's what we're meant to do on Sundays. We stopped with the charity stream and then I did AHA like full on last month. So I do that on the Sundays instead. But I want to try and get back to them because I do think they were useful. And one thing I'd want to work on is making an input system. And I don't mean a full-on input system. I mean more a specific input. So if you have those mini games where you can tap inputs and it checks you've typed in the right order and stuff, and it can detect if you've done a mistake, that is kind of what I want to look at instead. We can give a sequence of things that need to be pressed. And it will detect whether you've done it successfully or not. Well, Spacey, I used to have them both. So if I was looking straight on, let's just do it over here, right? So if I was looking straight on, they were both like slightly angled, so they're facing my face like this. What that means is like throughout the day, I tend to like do more work on one monitor than the other. I'm constantly on an angle and I get a bad neck quite often. So this new setup is trying to have like my primary monitor flush onto my face, and then the other one's going to be on a angle. So it kind of be like I look down at this one, and then the other one is like a reference monitor instead. Yeah, I do use both, but it's like when I'm coding, I tend to just like I think it'll help me focus as well because normally the other monitor has like chats and stuff on it. And yeah, I can just find it's a bit. It can be distracting sometimes as well. Yeah, you can think I'm a freak anyway. Don't worry about it, Spacey. We're all friends here. How did your stream go earlier today? Okay, so monthly game dev challenge. What number are we on now? We're going to do a bit of planning for it, and then we'll dive in. I'll do a bit of reading up on stuff I've done as well. So if we go to our collections, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is our 8th one. Monthly challenge 8, and this will be like input. Minigame input system. Let's just call it that for now. Copy that, whack that up here. Voila, we've got ourselves a title. I love a Google Doc. Flipping love a Google Doc. This is my Sunday night sorted. I need nothing else now. You drew Pomo, new profile pic, and then start trying to figure out a print on demand site. Oh, so you can just like upload your image and you get like a percentage of it if people, and the website, people can order it through the website and it'll get sent to them, but it's your design, so it's kind of you selling it but through them. Wonderful. Well, nice to hear you looking into it, Spacey. I just generally think what I said to you the other week is like I don't want to try and make you monetize something you enjoy if you don't want to monetize it, but it's more of a case if you're doing it anyway and then you have these cool products or potential products, I'll say, because it's art, but art is pretty much a product as well. It can be if you want it to be, right? I just think what you do normally is appealing to people. It'll appeal to a certain type of person anyway, I think. You have a nice style to you, and yeah, so I just thought it would be something that if someone's just browsing through loads and loads and they see it, they go, oh, that's quite cute actually. I remember when I was seeing looking at t-shirts before for me, and I'd be like, I knew I only wanted to get 3 because it was like 3 t-shirts for this much on a website called Threadless, and I wanted to get like 2, but then I was looking for 1 for my girlfriend at the time, you know, and it's some of your stuff I might think, oh, that'd be nice on her, sort of thing as well. But there we go. Yeah. There we go, good. I got shouted at for saying it, so I was hesitant. Okay, so Are we working in the header right now? I think we are working in the header accidentally. That's a shame. I don't want a header. Headings you add to the document will appear. Oh no, we're not actually working it. It's just because the format we're in is the one without gaps between pages, I think. And it has to have a full page apparently. Okay, that's all good. Let's go back, whack that in. Great. First topic is going to be what do we want? Okay, and what we actually want is an input system that will allow us to track the input of a player for the purpose of keystroke driven, I've made up that as a triple thing, mini games. Games such as Cook Serve, Delicious, there's others, and what I wanted in bonus are inspirations. Actually, I should say Hot Dog Game. The LD. The types of games I'd like to cater for. Okay, so what is the system itself then? So we basically need it can vary, right? This can definitely vary between games. So let's try and describe it to us. Hello there, Corpse. Nice to see you, dude. Big thumbs up to you, good sir. Hello there, Hexa Donut, as well. Nice to see you. Usually it's pushed on me by my mum, who wants to overcomplicate things and make it practically a full-time job. But I had a negative knee-jerk. That's okay. Thank you for explaining. I remember you saying before your mum used to do that as well when you drew anything, when you were going through your old art. Critters, hi. Good to see you. So essentially we want I don't know the right structure to talk about this, so let me just get some ideas out and we can try and organize it afterwards, perhaps. Oh dear, I've just noticed there's a... Oh, I've tripped something on one of my keys on my keyboard. And it's... Ah, that's unfortunate. It's the F6 key. It just has this little... Okay, I don't know what F6 does. It kind of like tabs between these. I don't know why it... So F6 just takes you to the header if you tap it twice in a page. I didn't know that. There you go. You learn new things, don't you? Or just press it anytime. It takes you to the URL bar. Flippin' heck, we're learning so much. So excited to be learning. So excited. Okay, so what do I actually want? Provide a desired list of inputs. Order where order is. Oh no, it doesn't have to be ordered. This can be ordered. This can be what's non-ordered? Unordered, right? Unordered list is what they call it. We also want to say this should... The kind of options we want here is block all inputs. How do I write this? So many things I'm trying to think of. Switches focus between tabs and address bar. So you can F6 to the tabs and then use the arrow keys to navigate, or F6 to start typing. Well done. Oh, I closed it. I pressed enter and it closed it. What do we want? Low flying airplane noise. When do we want it? Meow. Thank you, Spacey. Okay, that's what we want. Stuff this other project. It's fine. Thank you, critters, for sharing your wisdom anyway. I closed my browser accidentally, but I'll forgive you. Let's condense this down. Okay, that's enough for that point. I just want to say detect when inputs are pressed and compare against the desired list. So this can be punished for pressing the wrong input. We may want to remove. I did think about this. Na, mae'n anodd iawn I fi ysgrifennu mewn Gymraeg wel, mae'n anodd I fi wneud un neu'r llall. Okay, efallai, okay. Efallai, dyn ni eisiau cael gwared neu beidio? Yr opsiwn I gael gwared o mewnbwn o'r rhestr os ydym ar ôl i'r mewnbwn cael ar ôl iddo cael ei mewnbynnu. Mewnbynnu. Fel falle. Fi di anghofio. Fi di anghofio sut I sillafu. Fi'n meddwl mae'n fel yna. Beth arall dyn ni eisiau gwneud gyda hyn? Dwi'n hoffi'r gair ysgrifennu. Good. Wel, yn prydferth. Gair prydferth. What else do we want? So a translation of this is the option to get rid of an input from the list after it's been inputted. Or input, I guess we would say in English. We'd also want to be able to block other inputs in the game. If you have a character, etc., its normal inputs should be ignored. Some feedback, I guess, we'd probably want as well. It feels like there's a lot more edge cases I've not really thought about here. So let's try and think about how I guess we'd want to like track accuracy. I don't know if we speed, but that's less important. So this would probably go into a stretch goal category instead. Visuals when a key is pressed and based on what was pressed on the input. Oh, this is something I was thinking of. The inputs should be based on a general input rather than a specific key. Input mapping, this should be. Meaning inputs can be remapped by the player and it won't break the game logic. I'd like that too. Ashnazg Ndurbatuluk Ashnazg Gimbatul Ashnaz Thrakulukuttuk ag barzum mishi krimpatul. What did I just say, Lolan? Am I going to be arrested anytime soon? If so, it was a pleasure, everyone. Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and do a bit of research then. I think I've got some notes I've written on this stuff before, which should help. Is that heading 2? Hang on, why is this 1? Yeah, I think we've gone all wrong here. Let's stick to our heading, shall we? No, this can be a heading 2. That's fine. Okay, now let's go back to heading 1 and do research. Also, I tell you what we haven't done for a bit. Go to dark mode for this, shall we? Ah. You shouldn't speak in black speech of Mordor. Uh-oh. Is that what I did? I don't even know what I was speaking. You're lucky I trust you, weird lol. It's the equivalent of Uno Maestro dropping in a link in chat and me thinking 50% chance this is a Rickroll. So, I wrote about it in my little compendium. I'm pretty sure I have anyway. Ta-ta! Let's have a look, shall we? Little looky look. Let's update the table of contents in case I've changed anything in there. Okay, input. Over here. I wrote quite a lot on this. Oh, actually, 1 page. It's not massive, but still, it will help. So, editing mappings. Input mappings are saved in a config file. You can change them with the UE4 editor, but all that does is save it to a config ini file. Okay, good. Let's start a new project for this, shall we? So let's go to the engine. And let's launch. We're not going to update to the new version. I love how there's just a cube in the middle of that beautiful scenery. Let's carry on reading while this is loading then. Be aware that if you manually change the ini file, if you later go and save the ini file via project settings, it will save your auto format things, potentially reorganizing your code and removing the comments. Right, okay. So essentially, you have an ini file. If you open that in your editor and move things around, when it saves, it has a certain way that it saves these things. So yeah, just to be aware of that. Okay, we want to make a new game. I guess, are we going to go with blank? I think we should go with blank. We don't really want to be moving around and stuff like that at the moment. Yeah, let's go blank. We'll have project content though. We want this to be both CPP and blueprint. We want ray tracing off. We don't care about that. Starter content we want on. Excellent. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and sort out this project in Unreal. Let's make a new folder for it. MGC8. Select the folder, and then this is going to be called input. Minigame input project. Let's just call it that. Okay, create. Let's carry on reading. So, player customized mappings. In order to be able to revert to default controls in a game where you allow the user to customize their controls, an approach is to have a second file that is written to when user changes their settings. When the bindings are set, you load all the defaults then load the custom ones which will override the mappings that differ from the defaults. This allows you to revert back to the default controls with ease, so you'll never touch the default controls. Okay, that's just another interesting concept. Okay, we now have a U object called player input. So this manages the player input, only spawned on the client, as structs that hold the action mappings and axis mappings. Okay, this is more interesting to us. So let's get this down in here to begin with. Let's paste in our current style, shall we? Okay. Where does this live? Is it on the player controller? We should probably find out where this is, right? I'm guessing it's opening my project still. I just had Visual Studio just open now, so bear with us. So we then have an input component as well. So is this input component on the player input, or is it an input component itself? We got to start looking at this code. Okay, so let's just open. Have I got anything in here? Let's go into the source. We should have ourselves a game mode base or something like that we can open just to begin with. Excellent, that's fine. Let's just pin these up. And then we can start having a little gander around this. So we have, what did we call it? A player input. So player input, what sort of file are you? You're a U object, we know that. Yeah, okay, so it's a pure U object. It's within, I don't know what that works, but let's go. Now, I've never seen that kind of syntax before. But there we go, let's go and have a look what has one of these. U player object within the player controller that processes player inputs. Only exists on the client in network games. What sort of functions do we have in here, I wonder? This is where we add mappings and stuff like that. Okay, it's on the player controller, pretty sure of that. It comes up in many places, but it seems that there's some static functions that we can call in here, like the add axis mappings. Hey, Pizzario. So these, right? They're kind of like static, even though they're not. Can you see how they're called here? We just go U player input, add engine defined axis map it. So it seems like that's almost like a static call. There's a name for it, for these sort of things, but anyway, let's jump on back. I'd like to. I've done a rebind recently in work that I found has been really useful for me. So let's look at bindings. It might be visuals. Shortcuts. Well, I've written hotkeys, key points. I'm really struggling to search them. I don't have a little lurky thing, no, but what? Why are you giving me that? Oh, yeah, okay. Whatever. Visual Assist. Let's just go into the options and then let's search it when this is up, shall we? Okay. That's where it normally goes, isn't it? Like I think it's okay, here. This is fine. So if we want to go to forward. There's one that I've got. It should be assigned to like Control plus Alt plus. No, it's not that. It's not solution forward. It's kind of in view. Alt and right arrow. Is that how it works? Oh, it is. No, that goes back though. Doesn't seem like there's a forward. If I click there and then go back there, that goes. Sorry, I want to just get it consistent with what I've got in work, which is the back and forwards. Is just on the plus and the minus on the keypad. Ah, no, I need, if I remember. Oh, for flip's sake, there's a visual assist list of commands. Somewhere in here. Keyboard shortcuts, this is what I'm looking for. Oh, okay. So if we click customize, it should allow us then to go into this thing. Yeah, okay. Right, let's just sort this quickly. We want to go into a thing that allows us to go forward. I think it's view. Let's just try. How do we add one to this now? Oh, press your. So we just go like control. I can't remember how I did it. I think this is forward is that. And then backwards. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, like that. And let's just do backwards. Sorry, I can't believe this is taking me like 3 minutes to sort this. View. Yeah. I don't want navigate. Ah, that is the one I want to do. Uh-oh. Okay, I don't navigate backwards. Let's go ahead and change this one, shall we? So we want to do control and this minus keypad, numpad minus. So assign that. And then we want to go navigate forward. Control shift plus is meant to be. Well, we're going to do just control plus. Okay, and assign on the keypad. Right, that should mean I can now go back and forward this way. Yeah. Okay, that's what I wanted. Apologies for that. Dan, can you check the floor for stray frames? Did you drop? Oh. Unread notifications. Frames. Yes, I was dropping loads of frames just then. I don't know why. And indeed, well, it took me long enough, didn't it? Yeah, it happened twice for some reason. Alicia was having some drop frames on a stream the other day. I wonder what has changed recently. Whether we've got something running on the computer that doesn't need to be. I don't really have much running. Okay, yeah, let me know if it keeps happening anyway, chat. Okay, that took ages. What was I trying to do? I was actually looking in here. Ah, yeah, in here, right? So if we go into this player input, this function, this is static, so we can call it from anywhere. That's why it's been called like that. Weird law, very smart suggestion, you silly man. Silly man. See, they say 2 meters or 6 feet, but there's a big difference. There's 20 centimeters difference between the two, right? I don't think we should be casually interchanging those as if they're equal. Anyway. Okay, so that's on the player controller. So if we go player controller, we should find in here, it should have a U player input. There. Player input. Let's just see how this is set up inside. So we have an init input system. When is this called, I wonder? This is called in the set player, in the player controller. So we init the input system, which goes through and we make ourselves a new player input. And then we set up the input component. That would be in the player controller. Right, and then we set up an input controller as well. Right, so input control. So I think the player input allows the input to come into you, and the input component is what processes them, I think. Possibly. I've been great. Have you been, Dan? I've been Dan. I've been pretty good. Pretty good. Today's kind of disappeared on me a bit, but yeah, I've had a nice bit of downtime over the weekend. Yeah, it did various things. I was kind of tidying and pottering about yesterday. Rearranged the camera, so the camera's this side of the room now. I feel the crop on me is probably better than it was before. You can see more of my hands and everything. I don't know why that is, but I think it's probably better this way. And it's my more flattering side of my face. Most people have a more flattering side of face, right? For me, one of the main things is with hair, right? My hair goes this way, so it looks fine. Whereas bright light on my non-parted side, you just get to see like my hairline, which then makes me look like I'm receding into the flipping heavens. So there we go. I can look youthful this way. Youthful, young, fresh. I was considering that, but I really like, it's already mirrored, mine is, and I really like being able to do this and like it goes up on the right side. It can be a bit. I agree with you though, so it looks like I'm looking at what I'm coding. The other option is I move the camera to the other side, but yeah, it really throws me when I try and like point to something and it goes to the other side. But give me a sec. We can. Might be able to have a little play with this now. Right. We could just probably flip it here. Ah! There you go. It looks like I'm working now, right? But now this is on the wrong side for me. It confuses me. But we can see if it works. Looks like I'm coding with everyone then, right? We're talking. I don't even know which way to do it. This way? No. Here we've got some code. There we go. We'll try it. We'll give it a go. Happy America Day. Hang on. Independence Day is not today, right? Or is there many? I think there's many American days. I don't even know anymore. Let's get back to business, shall we? Hello, Bucksnail, though. Nice to see you, dude. Oh my gosh, I'm not happy with this hat now. I was fine before. Now I've seen how I look. It's bothering me. Go. We'll just wear it completely over me. It's fine, right? It's fine. Artifacts, I hope you're pleased with yourself, mate. And anyone who's on the Discord as well, Artifacts has made a post about a podcast that he's looking to start as well. So feel free to have a look at that and respond to him if you have any input you want to give on that as well. Anyway, okay, so let's keep notes of what we're doing as we said, right? So lives on the player controller. The build input stack, where did that come from there? Let's go back to where we were. Set up input component. This is where we were. So we make a new input component, which is the player component input controller, input component. Input components, you can add multiple ones, and there's a stack of them, if I remember correctly. It can be quite detailed. I'm hoping I wrote notes on it, because I've looked into this quite deeply before. Block input, I don't know where that... I guess that's just a variable on the player controller, block input. Find input delegates. How does that work? Yeah, I do not know. Why has it gone there? Supports input delegate. Ah, here. Hold on. So let's jump into this. So this goes and gets the bindings. These are like classes. And they're going to be assigned. What's in each one of these? A delegate binding. Input action name, the key event, and the function name to bind to. Okay, so this is how you do your delegate bindings, right? This is the function when you bind it to, when you do your axis mappings. We'll have a look. I mean, do we have a... There's a bit, I might have written it in here. Yeah, this stuff. You bind stuff and then you give it a function. Input command bind axis here, move forward. Right, okay, so if we go back to where we were. Where were we? We were in this, and then we want to look what one of these were, right? And you can see there's made of an action name, a key, the actual input event, and then the function that it's going to bind to. No, just the hair's a mess today. It's fine. All right, you can just have my messy hair. See how I feel. You're not the boss of me. Look at this. How are you, Balrog, anyway? Are you okay? I've learned the Safari doesn't like your CSS. Aha, interesting. Oh yeah, because you set up a website for it, right? What's up then, Mr. Balrog? Okayish doesn't sound normal, Balrog. I'd like to know more. Okay, that kind of makes sense to me. I guess, right? So then when we bind to input component, I don't want to go through all of the details, but essentially it seems to be that we store them in, was it a T map we saw not too long ago? In here. Alright, so it makes a bunch of these binding classes. Actions, axis key, touch, axis key, and vector axis. And each one of these, did they have an array of these, which are respective to each one? Okay. Yeah, web dev on different browsers out of Axis, it's a horrible side of web dev for sure. I'm getting to a late discovery that I might have some aspect of ADHD and or autism, seeing as my daughter and aspects of her in me and my behavior. Not sure how I feel about it. Yeah, that must be a difficult thing to come across like later in life. I know like Elisha went through quite a bit of a thing where she was kind of self-diagnosed ADHD. And it really, yeah, it took her a long time to kind of embrace it, and to she spent a lot of time looking into stuff, understanding it better, feeling frustrated, wishing things weren't so difficult, you know, that whole you'd rather just be normal and all of that stuff. But yeah, I guess it's also another factor when it's then possibly passed on to your children, and then you've seen how it can impact their clear stuff. Yeah, it's probably quite a lot for you to deal with, dude. Well, feel free to vent more about it if you wish, Matt. Okay, so we but what I'd say about like Elisha now, she's had this was probably like a year ago now, where she really started going into it, and she's like, she's awesome. Like she's really really good with it. Like for me and her, like in a relationship sense, it took a while for me to understand her behavior isn't. You kind of I don't know. I guess you kind of expect people to work in the same way as you, and so I would take things personally, or I'd see it as rude, you know, if they're like, I'll be there, and yeah, I'll be on the computer, and or we'll chat in 5 minutes, and then it's like an hour's gone, and they haven't messaged me or anything about it, and just understanding the time perception and things like that, or time blindness or whatever they call it, you know, that's nothing to take personal. That's just how they work. That's just one aspect of it. Understanding how she deals with confrontations and stuff like that as well. A lot of it took a bit to get used to, but like me and her are grand now, and how she is in herself, she works ways to kind of manage it. And to me, I don't see her as someone. She definitely does have ADHD in my view, like, but I don't see it as a like, oh, I don't think regularly about the fact that I'm with someone with ADHD. She's pretty good at dealing with stuff, and it's just how she is now, you know. And I just see her like that. But that comes with me broadening my horizons as well, I think. Second guess yourself in your reactions. What do you mean by second guess and reactions to what? Our project was open, by the way. I should have showed the wonderful cheer scene. Such an exciting cheer scene. We love this. Okay. My wife had the same kind of feeling. That explains a lot. Yeah. It's definitely. I think you need to talk to. Well, if you trust you probably have already, but like talking about it and talking about the things that you find difficult, and maybe just talk as much as you can to your partner about it, and just kind of the more you can feel accepted for the way that you might function differently as well, I think it will make you not feel. I'm sure you don't feel like a burden or anything like that, but those sort of feelings can come with the fact that you know normal things might be different, or easy things that everyone else finds easy or challenging. When I get frustrated about stuff, I have to mentally pause and think, is this warranted, or is this just me being you? But I mean, it's good to think about that, Balrog, because it'll help you be more considerate of how other people might perceive stuff. But at the same time, you being you is still very valid, right? I think the bigger problem is that people don't really. Everyone assumes that the norm is how everyone should be, whereas I think that there's a big old proportion of people who are on the autistic spectrum, along with other types of things like ADHD, which means or non-neurotypical, let's just say, right? So I think there's a lot of people in that kind of category, but we assume everyone isn't, and then I think that makes everyone who isn't neurotypical feel they have to cater for everyone else's well-being and ease, whereas I don't think that's the way. So yeah, try and understand, are you reacting this way because of how you're wired? Maybe that will help you communicate with someone who is neurotypical then, to say, hey, I'm probably being a bit sensitive to this because of this, but it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be, right? Right, we were having a little browse over here. Right, so it lives on the play controller. That's we haven't really gone too deep into that, but then we also have a player input thing as well. So let's whack that in here. Let's read through all of this, I guess, before we go further, because I might answer some of the questions. So the input component, these components link axis mappings and action mappings set in the player input to functions. Multiple input components can be created as they attach to any, and they can be attached to any actor. A stack of these inputs exist within the player controller to determine which input component takes priority. An actor's accept inputs bool is what flags an actor's input component for consideration in that input component stack. I think follows my own bloody notes. The most recently activated actor activation via the accept input flag will take higher priority over other actors. So, but it's a component, but the actor on it needs to have that flag, is it? Let's make sure I didn't accidentally write actor here when I meant to say component. So what did we call the bool? Accepts input. Let's have a look for this, shall we? Quickly in our code base. I mean, this. Yeah, I know it's a fine line. Professionally, it works. So yeah, professionally is a different type of one. It is challenging because it doesn't matter if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. There's still expectations on you, isn't there? And sometimes job security and making sure everyone else is happy is what they want of you as an employee as well, right? But that's why it feels so easy to work and hard to be with the family right now. What is it? Is it because work don't have those expectations of you, and so you don't feel like you're like rubbing against it the wrong way? Whereas with your family, you're having differences, and you think you feel like different in how you feel that you get affected by things that they don't. Right. What did we find in here? Hold on. What was this? A search? Accept input. Okay. Accepts input. This is in. Okay, we don't want to go that far down. Is it still searching, or are we done? Don't. Is it finished searching? Pretty much. Hang on. Hold on. My current project. Let's just go entire solution. I don't know if it's like a module based thing or what, but yeah, we're getting more results now for sure. I feel different, and there's a lot of stupid hang-ups in my opinion by my wife. I have no issues with keeping time, but I also live in the now, meaning it's hard to plan something. Yeah, that makes sense. Stupid hang-ups, but does that mean your wife gets bothered by things that you don't think that she should do? Or that you think shouldn't be a big deal to her, but they are? And hello, Apollyon. So yeah, our monthly game dev project this month, we're going to be looking into inputs. I want to make like a mini game input system. Games where where it pops up and says you have to press these keys in quick succession, or even like one of those typing games where you need to spell out words and type them correctly. Maybe I should. It should also work for the games where you have to type words to succeed. Those sort of games. But it's going to also improve our understanding of the general input stack in Unreal as well. Then I have issues with object permanence, in that I can go through a box and search for stuff and I can't find it, and then she goes there and she finds it immediately. She gets hung up on things I missed due to the ADHD parts, but I guess now that we've discovered this, she might change. Yeah, for sure. Well, Balrog, like I used to be like that, honestly. Like before I understood like how Elisha was, and before she actually understood it, like she just assumed how she was just normal. And it's only when you start talking to more people or realizing that you just felt a bit different, But as soon as you start to realize there's actually a reason for it, there's nothing to be blamed for. That opens up a window to have conversations. There's this person who's been quite good. We watched some of these videos together before. What was her name? Give me a sec. This person.
Hello.
Oh gosh, sorry, she's very, very loud.
Writing's not that easy.
Oh, there's adverts. Okay, well, you can just have a look at this. But that person, how to ADHD, like her, she has a bunch of videos which I found useful as someone who doesn't have ADHD, to try and like relate and understand some of the differences. And when you see so many people in the comments like agreeing with that stuff, I'll drop it again, no problem, dude. When you see that many people like agreeing in the comments, or saying like, oh, this is so, like someone, one of the comments here, I wish I could go back in time and show this to every employer and girlfriend I've ever had. There's no telling how many arguments and how much heartbreak I could have saved myself. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's like there's a bunch of videos by her that I found it can be quite good as in a relationship to kind of watch that stuff together and try and you know, you can say how much of it is relevant to you, and it just gives, it doesn't, I guess for someone else then it's not just about you. So it's not like how Balrog is, it's how people who have a brain that works in the same way as Balrog work, you know, and that makes it less personal, and hopefully it can help people understand that it's not your fault, and it's just you need to come to ways to work the best way that you can, like, you know. Indeed, Booksnail, 2 months. It's not long now, right? And I've always liked the idea of doing these like mini games. I think it's a really good way to like make a quick game in for game jams. So that's one of the incentives for me kind of looking into this month, because it might help me do a quick little mini game in Ludum Dare. I'm not too sure if Brainoid how up for getting back into Unreal he is, or if he's free to jam or whatever it be. But yeah, if I ever do one on my own, at least, like it really reduces the scope of a project if you just do like a like mini games with inputs and stuff. Anyway, okay, so let's carry on reading through this for now then. Oh no, we were trying to find that this thing, right? No, not that. What was the bloody thing I called it? Something input. I put it in quotes up here. Accepts input. There's no accept anywhere in there. What did I actually search for? Maybe okay, maybe I was wrong, because it doesn't seem like we find that much in here. So I don't know where I got that from. Maybe it's just accept input. See if we get any more results for that. Nope. Well, I'm confused how that works then. Let's say we'll dive into it. Anyway, okay, so the input component, we were saying, right, multiple inputs components can be created as they can be attached to any actor. A stack of these input components exists within the player controller to determine which input component takes priority. So I think they can be on any actor in the world. It's not like just the player. The player controller, you have one per client, right? And there's a player input thing that handles all the inputs coming in from that local client. And then anytime you want an actor to have a input component to take input, or to have rules on input, I guess, you add that to, you create an input component and you say that it accepts input. Now think of this as if, like, say you're in the world and you're a character. The player controller will have its own input set up, and that's on an input component as well. But let's say that you walk up to a terminal. What you could do, I guess, is you could have a terminal actor, and that would have an input component on it itself. And when you interact with it, you activate or you push that input component onto the stack. And then that means that the input component defined in that thing will be the thing that interprets your input. Also good for roguelike games. You move, they move. Well, in which sense do you mean there, Apollyon? In terms of the way of what blocking a player's input when the when you want the enemies to have a go. It's just the roguelike bit. Is this similar to publishing a button pushed event? The way, kind of. Yeah, so how I'd imagine what's happening under the surface here, Brewing Bob, and I don't know for sure, is underlying Windows or whatever operating system you're using. When an application has focus, right? I'm guessing it captures all inputs natively, right? So that probably passes it to the Unreal application at some point, and where that comes in the game logic sense would be in something called the player input component. So all your keystrokes and your clicks and your change of mouse position, all of those will be like events driven in, like those clicking of buttons, I guess. And then you assign those to, you can make definitions about what you want them to do. So let's say clicking, when you're controlling your player, you want it to shoot, right? But if you're in a menu and you click, you don't want it to shoot anymore. You want it to just select a UI interface, for example, right? You want to click an options button. You don't want it to shoot as well. So you can kind of create like a layers upon layers of input thing. So at the bottom, it'll be like, here's my player. When I press click, I shoot. But then when you open your menu, you want to put another input layer on top of it and say like, oh, when I click now, it's going to, like, imagine the click being pushed down and trying to go through these layers. And it'll hit this one and it'll say, oh, click means I now just click on user interface. And you can tell it, should it carry on going down and doing the other things on the other layers? So if you say carry on going down, it will click on the user interface and shoot. But you can also just say, oh, this now blocks input, and it will stop it going further down. And so the player stuff, it still exists in the game. You haven't gotten rid of all the player bindings. You don't have to rebind things all the time. You just have one that has a higher priority instead. Yes, that's one way to think of it. It's a sort of like on-click event, but it'll be like a keystroke down. But how I'd think of it is not, maybe each system doesn't receive them. There's a controlling system that has a stack of all of these, and it will pass it down only as much as it needs to. So it'll pass it to the top one only, and the ones underneath never know anything about it unless this one allows it to go through. Old Rogue had enemies only moving when you move. Ah, okay. I did. Sorry, Apollyon. My bad. My lack of understanding there. Yes, Spacey. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Oh, look at them. It looks so natural. It is a nice design, though, huh? Look at the cute cat. Look at the snail. So many bits of detail as this has had a lot of polish on it. I wonder, yeah, I just worry about also the safety of, like, how easy is it for someone to just steal this? You can't really put a watermark across it, can you? Just got to go and report them. A baby onesie and a coaster, did you say? Let's go and have a look at your shop, shall we? What have we got? Yes. All products. Ah, wood-mounted print. Nice. Canvas one. Ah, do I get this nice minimal room as well? You know, there's a tapestry. Cardboard, a poster. Look at this. A sticker. Oh, that's cute, eh? Yeah, that's fair, Spacey. It was a passing thought rather than thinking you've done anything wrong there. Anyway, to get back to it, thank you for sharing, Spacey. So let's carry on learning about this then. So a stack of these input components exists within the player controller to determine which input component takes priority. An actor's accept input bool is what flags an actor's input component for consideration in that input stack. That bit I don't understand. I think I must have just called, it might be called something else. Let's go to actor.h. Do we have something about it? What do we have on input in here? Oh, there's going to be a ton. Actually, no, it may not be that much. All input on the stack below this actor will not be considered. So it's per actor. Automatically registers this as actor to receive input from the player. And it has an. Does every actor have an input component? Crikey, I did not know that. Okay, yeah, that's something I definitely didn't know. Okay, so the this is going to be input component is going to be. Have we got it open? Let's jump into this, shall we? Let's pin this up. So input component is yeah, it's just an actor component. Okay. Thanks for the YouTube clip, Dan. Sent to my wife. Home on so many. Oh, good. There's loads of them. There's loads. Like there's stuff particularly on relationships and stuff as well. Yeah, there's a lot, and I've watched quite a lot of them. It helps me as someone who doesn't have it, but to help try and be someone more understanding to someone who does have it, you know. Did you have to do many push-ups and stuff today, Spacey? Every actor has one of these. Oh, actually no, it has a member to store an input component, which I didn't know before. Like, I wonder, is it instantiated as well? So we have this input component here. Let's go into here. How is the input component used? Enable input. It makes, okay, so if you enable the input for it, you give it a player controller. Okay, interesting. Can you see this? Pop input component. And we also have a push as well. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So it seems to be going via the player controller here. Hey, Bearded Brit Boy, nice to see you. It was nice to see you streaming the other day as well. I found a setting to disallow right-clicking and saving the image. Yeah, cool. That sounds good to me, Spacey. Might as well make it more difficult in case there's like little bot things that go out scraping, you know, like the t-shirt industry is something that is quite prone to like people stealing art and stuff. Wouldn't press my burned hand into the floor. Is it really bad, your burn then, Spacey? Is it blistering? Yeah, I'm doing quite well, thank you, Bearded Brit Boy. Actually, really well, in fairness. I have nothing to complain about. So the input component is where you set up the bindings for the input events. So what all of the they will go via the inputs themselves go via the player input, which is another U object that's on the player controller. And then I think that will have a reference to all of the different input components, and it makes a stack out of them. And that kind of routes which binding it should use when a certain key is pressed. Half of it is a little blistered. Oh, crikey. That sounds nasty. She tried grabbing something out of the oven. But without the oven mitt, she thinks she's too strong. Okay, so I think we only... There's stuff about the input component in here and disable. But I don't think by default... This is on every actor. You can call these. Excellent. Okay, cool. So enable input is probably not called. Okay, hang on. Pre-initialize components. If auto receive input is not equals disabled, then it will set it up. Okay, what's the default value for this? Auto receive input. Is it not an initialization list? I guess, would we look at what the very first value is of this enum? Disabled. Auto receive input. So you're saying for which player you want it to receive input for? I guess that's what this is. Interesting. I actually do find it quite interesting poking around in this. How did you enjoy Temtem yesterday, Brooded Bitboy? I'd not seen it before. I said to Alicia, I was like, Temtem? She's like, Temtem. And she's like, that's a Pokemon-like thing. It looked pretty cute. I was saying to her the other day, I'd really wish that me and her can just both play through like Pokemon, the original Red and Blue or whatever, but it being like the first time and being excited again. Or just maybe a new version. Have they done a modern version of... I don't mean like new Pokemons. I know they do new Pokemons, but have they done a remake of the original on like Switch or anything like that I've missed? Because I'd enjoy playing through the original Pokemon properly. They have? What is it called? They've remade a lot of the games. I know there's a Pokemon MMO. They're going through the list. Okay. If any of you feel free to drop a link to the original Pokemon like Red, Blue that has been remade so I can go and check it out. Wait, it has been out a long time, right? In 1997, Game Freak. I'm trying to remember that bloody title screen when you turned it on. Right, auto receive input. So I think this is turned off by default. If auto receive input is set for that actor, the input will be enabled. When enabled, it will create an input component if needed and add it to the input stack on the owning player controller, I guess, right? Do I remember the Pokemon? Yes, I do. Of course, you know, we talked about this the other day. I can't play it very well. Hold on. What was it? Was it C? Oh, how have I forgotten it? Ah. That was... That's it. Whatever, we can do the main theme tune instead. That's better. I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. No, but the Pokemon. Okay, that's what it is. Perfect. What did you start? What did you start with, lol? Hang on. There's definitely a easier bit. I've forgotten it completely, it seems. We'll stop. We'll stop. That's your fault though, weird lol. I blame you. That almost fell over then as well. Okay, what have I... they've remade a lot of them, and they've remade the first one like twice. Fire Red and Leaf Green for the Game Boy Advance, and now Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for this. So that's the first game, is it, completely? Let's Go is technically a remake, though. They've changed the mechanics. They've tried to spin it off of Pokemon Go. Right. Actually, on Switch, I'm not sure if Red, Blue were remade, but I think the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are the equivalents with a different battle style. Does it have just the 151 Pokemon? That's kind of what I care about, because I'm a bit of a dick like that. I don't like all the new ones. I tried playing Silver, and I didn't even like it as a kid, so as I've gone older, my disdain to it has grown even more. Has anyone played it, and would they say it was any good? Okay. Okay, that's what we learned so far. Let's go back to this. Most recently activated actor. We'll take higher priority. So I guess we should look at the popping bit here. Let's finish reading this. I need to just finish reading this, and then we can poke around the code. Player controller class is in charge of organizing the input stack. Actually, sorry, the most following actors, the following priority exists: controllers, level scripts, and pawns. Dan, you really didn't explain. Like, which order is that? Following actors. So is that actors the highest priority? And then controllers, then level scripts, then pawns? I think it is that. Seems so anyway. The player controller class is in charge of organizing the input stack. Building the stack every frame if needed. The stack is simply an array of U input components, which are ordered based on priority. You can add an input component to the stack by calling push input component. bindings can be set to consume input, meaning the input will no longer be seen by any other input components further down the stack. Having the flag B block input set to true will consume the input. By default, the input will consume, so when setting up the bindings, you can turn this off as follows. Consume input is false. This, enable input. This is literally the function we just found. It should be used with caution when creating the input component, as this will create it and add it to the stack. You can use the body of the function without enabling the enabling part if you wish to set up the input component without activating them. Okay, setting up, so basically what they're saying is we could use this where we were earlier. There's an active, that one, enable it. We can use this as a way to create one without having to add it onto it. I think it's what it's trying to tell us, or what I was trying to tell myself. Hey, no problem, Power. Like, it's quite a lot to go through, but as I said, if you can take some solace from, well, everyone's different. Like, you could be completely different to how Elisha is, but like Elisha went through a really quite a tough time internally, trying to come to terms with it and trying to not feel like things are crap because she works how she does. But like, we don't talk about it much at all anymore, you know. I just don't give her a hard time when she messes up on time management stuff, or if she's meant to be do something and then I come in and she's like completely down a rabbit hole of distractions. Because it's for me, it's easier to just go, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, or I know I should be doing this, so I will. But for her, it's a different thing, and it's just like you get used to it. And I think the more you feel accepted, hopefully your wife will help you with that, then it'll be less of a thing for you, and maybe you'll be able to think of it this way, like the more you learn about it, and the more educated you are about it, the more you can probably help your daughter, if she is wired the same way as you, you'll help her like be able to come to terms with some of the differences and manage the expectations that people have on them. But yeah, you look after yourself, dude. Hello there, Pomo. Spacey did tell me. I can see your little icon. Feel free to share a bigger version of it if you want. I've just clicked on your name, but that looks lovely. I like that a lot, Mr. Pomo. Let me catch up on chat. Sorry, Booted Brit Boy as well. I played at first. I played at Fun. I played it, I think you mean. Okay. Yeah, oh, you've just corrected yourself. I see. Fun for the first playthrough. For nostalgic purposes, not too fun after you beat the game and realise it was really watered down. Honestly, that sounds like most new Pokemon games recently. Ah, I see. I've not played any for a long time. I play Pokemon Go, but that's just it's different, isn't it? As AR. I'd love to read. Oh, no, you've done it. I need to read this because you've not copy pasted this. I want to be the very best. We'll do this for Weird Lol. He's given us some custom lyrics. I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To find them is my real test. To fix fix them is my to fix them is my cause. I will travel across the web, searching far and wide. Each bug report to understand the power that's inside. Program bugs. Is it F? Program bugs. Gotta fix them. This is great. I don't know the chords. Hold on. I forgot them. I only looked at it the other day. I might have it on my phone. Hold your horses. This is top quality content right here. Okay. So here we go. Hang on. And then it goes to... Hang on, is it the chord underneath it? No, it's above it. Okay. Side program bugs. Oh, it's hard because it's two at once, isn't it? So it goes like, Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Ooh. All right, we'll do it with your words now. Sorry. Where are we at? Program bugs, ooh, gotta fix 'em, it's you and you and me. I know it's my destiny. Oh, I can't look at the screen and this at the same time. I'm sorry. Okay. So it was program bugs. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Ooh. You're my worst friend in a world we must defend. I'm gonna have to learn your lyrics, I'm afraid. Yeah, I can do all the chords on guitar, but that's about it. I wanna be the very best like no one ever was. But there we go, weird lol. Hey, Figer. You found the stream before, well, you followed for good reason. We're not doing encore. I have to find a key. We were trying to get Alicia to sing the other day, and I could do a little falsetto version of it. I thought Spacey would be proud. So we'll find what key that I can do that. The searching Stack Overflow would be a great, if you can integrate that into the coding version of it. Hello there, Pally. I appreciate you popping in to say hi. I can't do Freebird, I'm afraid. And that's the end of that conversation. But yeah, if you've got a bigger version of the dog Pomo, feel free to drop it in chat. I'd love to see a bigger version. Or a version I can zoom on anyway. But Figer, how's your day going? Yeah, lyrics that fit the syllables, and that is actually really important as well. Okay, here we go, Pomo. We can do this. We can do this. There, done. The encore's over. Good night, thank you. You can buy my CD at the back. Speak to Steve. He'll sort you out with t-shirts and a bootleg. Alrighty. So we were looking about this enable input, and we were saying about be careful just using it straight off. Setting up bindings can be done either by accessing the input component directly by using the input component bind action. However, it is common for the bindings to be set up within the pawn as follows. So within the pawn itself, so within whatever the actor is, set up player input component. We make sure that we've got one. I hate checks, but yeah, that's fine. And then you just bind to it. Okay, so there's a function like that. Is that just... If it's set a player, I'm pretty sure that's going to be just in the pawn and that, right? Let's go and have a look for it. Okay, what have we got? We've got some in our... I have no idea what these things are. It's just a type of character here, right? Yeah, flying pawn. We have it in character default pawn. Okay, great. So this is where it uses the pawn as the input controller, input component, or the input component of the pawn. And if we remember, there was a stack where the pawn is last on that list, if I remember. Yeah, pawns here. So it goes actors, controllers, level scripts, and pawns. And what that means is when it goes down through the input stack, that is the priority that it'll go down through, I think. A tech demo in UE4 to making random RPG elements. Do you want to give me a little more context or a picture that might help me imagine what you're actually doing? And cool, thank you, Palmer. I have a sneeze coming as well. Oh, Pally, don't worry, that's everyone. Bless me. Bless me, bless me. Okay. Cool. I feel good with today's stream so far, by the way. We were just having a nose into this, reminding ourselves how this stuff works. And I feel like in myself, I'm a lot more confident in looking around and seeing how this stuff works. Like when I first looked into it, I did look quite deep. And I wasn't like overwhelmed by it, but the fact I'm poking around these kind of UE classes and making some sense of it shows that I'm coming along slowly. So, okay, which bits of this do I feel I want to take? Yeah, stack these exist within player control, which it takes priority. Yeah, okay, like that. Okay, let's take that bit into here. Thank you. Ah, Pomo, that doggo is great. Good job, Spacey. It's lovely. I'm just testing my skills to make a turn-based RPG system. Nothing yet except for a dysfunctional battle transition. Okay, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. So RPG, we're talking, if we're talking turn by turn, like a turn-based one, are we talking like Final Fantasy sort of RPG? Okay, cool. That sounds cool. Thank you for sharing. Well, I keep working on it, dude. I'll keep working on my stuff and you keep working on yours. The study club. Pally, I see you've been cooking some nice noms. Elisha's done a bunch of cooking today. She was exhausted by around 3 hours ago. She's like, I just want to sleep. I find like cooking is really draining, like standing on your feet and just managing stuff and like your brain is engaged, especially if there's a lot going on at once. It can be quite taxing. Okay, was there anything else in this we wanted to take? Okay, so let's do that, but let's try and clean up. We'll take higher priority over other actors. The following. So we have actors, and let's use arrows to imply the order of it. And then pawns is the final. Pawns, I think, lowest priority. We'll have a look in the guts in a moment and work out if that is actually how it works. My heels were dying after, but yeah, my feet are one thing that really hurts when I'm in the kitchen for a long time. Even though I used to have it when I used to work in retail, so I used to stand on my feet for a long time as well. But if you hadn't been doing it for a while, they could properly just get achy. The bits, the arch, I guess, of your foot I used to struggle with. Still want to create D&D-like game systems as a tech now. Ooh, yeah, for sure. That'd be a great project, Apollyon. I think projects where there's not too much going on at once. And that's one thing that appeals to me with the turn-based system is you're not worrying about everything coordinating at the same time. You can be quite controlled, right? You can make your environment quite controlled, I guess, and saying, hello, Halsey, as well. Nice to see you. Having my friend sleep over gave me like 5 meals to cook for someone other than myself. It was glorious. Ah, lovely. This now after like 30 minutes. Yeah, well, we did cooking stream yesterday as well with Alicia. We did some pizza and Jaffa cakes. All the Jaffa cakes are gone now, by the way. We smashed the giant one as dessert today. Okay, and yeah, this stuff is useful. Let's whack that in as well. We maybe won't go into this. This is... Actually, no, this is useful as well. I know it's copy pasturing, but it's just having it in one place so we don't have to have this compendium open. So it's basically you just do bind. Yeah, okay, we're going to modify the sentence in here. Can be done by accessing the input component directly. Bind action / axis functions. Okay, there you go. That's a little bit of a start. So let's actually look at the code now. We also made more of those honey cashews there. Yum, yum, yum. This batch didn't turn out as good. I think we could have let them go a bit longer. Still very yummy because it's sweet and salty. Yeah, any cooked nuts just get much improved in my opinion. Oh, look at the little heart as well. See, Spacey, how quick it is. Oh, it can be a magnet. Great use. Have you got reviews already? What? Is this from a while ago, or have you been doing this a while ago? I'm so confused. Oh, it's just magnets in general. That's so misleading. Sorry to say. That's great. I guess that's a way for them to sell more, right? Anyway, great review. Okay, we can close this now. Let's go and have a look at the code. So, we will go back to our... What classes do we care about here? We care probably about actor. Let's open our actor up there. We care about the player controller. The CPP rather than the H. Player input we care about. Oh, again, the CPP, not the H. And did we have our input component open? Oh, we've already got that open. Excellent. Get that open again. Swap the H for the CPP. Okay, so going from this, we have our player controller. What? Pin, you swine. We have a player controller here, right? Now, on that, we have our player input, and then there are player input, so the input components, which can exist on actors. Every actor has a member to store its one, and it'll create one and store it there. Okay, sweet. So let's have a look at where this set up then. Set up input component. Which is called, was this called in the input system? And that is called within our setup player. Okay, so let's just do some quick notes on this. I think I'm just gonna stop me alt tabbing around like a madman. We're just gonna check it on this other screen. And just type some things in over here. Okay, so on the player controller, we have a within set player. We call init input system. Okay. This in turn will create. This creates the player input for us. Okay, so the player input itself. What does this do when you make one of these then? Should we have a look in the constructor of this and see what goes on? Player input here. Yeah, so this is the thing that's tracking the keys, I guess, right? And how they're pressed and the likes. So the input is for multiplayer, not for single with AI stuff. Well done. Hey, Fyro as well, by the way. And Artifacts, you have a good evening. Sorry for keeping you a bit. Have a great afternoon. If any of you, not Safari, wouldn't mind submitting Game Jam themes on my site, it would be great. Yeah, there's a post on my Discord about that. If anyone wants to get involved in that as well, do feel free to do so. I'll try and open it in a tab so I can remember to do it. Just give me a poke in the next few days if I haven't done it, Artifacts. I do plan to do it. I just have a massive list of things I plan to do. How you doing, Fire? It's lovely to have you here. So, Apollyon, the input goes through the player controller, dude. So the player controller, there's only going to be one per client, right? You have AI controllers. I don't think they have inputs, though. You don't simulate the inputs with AI controllers. You just tell them what to do in other means. I'm pretty well. We can go and check, right? Well, actually, no. I think we're pretty much certain of that because it's on the player controller that we have one of these. So this is where we create it rather than on the base AI controller. So it's just a regular controller in here. Pretty sure this isn't going to have an input component in here. No. And we can check the AI controller as a result as well. Pretty sure this isn't going to have an input either. No. So the player 0 would be like for local games, I think. Apollyon, like split screen and stuff, where you might have a player 1, player 2 and that. That's what I'm imagining it is. So you can set maybe different input components for both players. So it can receive both of them, essentially, or maybe input from... You need to kind of map it out in some form. That's my assumption there. Okay, let's go back into this. So player input is created. It doesn't do much in here. Force rebuilding key maps. So this will go through our input settings. Our input settings is actually this, isn't it? Right, so if we go into project settings, isn't there input down here? Input, yeah, this. Okay, so it's saying we're going to go into the input settings. We're going to get our axis config. Okay, we can't see axis config, but that's okay. Axis config probably isn't exposed out. Yeah. Okay, so whereas the access mappings, mind you, I don't know how this is exposed out because we can actually see the access mappings in here and the action mappings. So it makes out it's going to go through these force rebuild. It gets the mappings from here. Speech, don't worry about the speech stuff for now, I guess. And then we are resetting each of the arrays. So there's a map of them made as well. So the map is, I need to get rid of, it has an F name and then an action key details. Capturing chord as well. That's like a combination of inputs at the same time, like Shift and S is a chord, I think is considered at. That's something we need to consider on our list, actually. What about multiple keys pressed at once? A chord. Let me just whack this over here. Don't tell him that we submitted that. Shh. Our secret. Yeah, up here I'd like should consider multiple inputs at once Let's just say chords. We want things like shift P. Don't know why I chose P, but I bloody did. So there. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So in we go. Back into the guts. Let's go back a bit. So if force rebuilds them right at the start, we got to find the begin play. I guess this does. Oh, posting it property. I'm trying to think when this is called. I've forgotten. But let's keep going through anyway. Flash press keys. No, we don't need that at the moment. How big is this class? Relatively beastie class. But we can scan through. Well, right now we probably just want to go into the... There's no begin play here or anything, no? Is there a tick that we care about? Like when is this made? I'm interested in... We've had to look at the... Sorry, when I say this... We have this key maps here, right? We reset them, but when is it actually built? Get calls for actions. Add action mapping here. Again, we're resetting them. I can't find where it's set actually, if I'm honest with you. Unless it's just, this is like, this is the exposed one. Is that like what we're getting here? Pretty sure this is, I'm not too sure though. List of action mappings. Is that what it was called in the code? Is that not what it said? Is that a tooltip? Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah, I'm just a little confused at the moment in terms of... Oh, I guess, to be honest, this is going to be in the input we're looking for, right? In the actual config. Where is it? This is where they would be, and edit properties. Right, okay. Of course. So we should be list of... Here, this is what we're looking for. So it's a T array of these mapping structs. Right, that's great. So let's go back into this play input and see how it's actually dealing with these. So we get the input settings, and then it takes them from the input settings and stores them within an axis config, an axis mappings, and an action mappings. But this bit I don't quite understand. I feel like it must make .add of this must be done somewhere. No? Current file, where are we? Current document. What do we do with this? The only thing we ever do here. Yeah, this must be set from elsewhere. Actually, I don't understand. So we access it, right? But we don't actually ever... How is this made? How does this have anything in it? Unless, is it public? Private. Map of the action name to details about the key map to that action. Like, I understand the intent of it here, but what I'm struggling to see is if this is the only time that is actually touched. This is just looking at it. This is resetting it, which it empties it out. Reset, reset, reset. This is a find. This is a find. And this is a find. So I have no idea how that is ever bloody set, if I'm honest with you. Oh, hold on. This is how we do it. Okay. Good. We have an add action mapping in here. Hold on. So we add it to action mappings, but then we reset this map every time. I don't understand what the point of this key map is. What? I don't understand what it's used. So I understand, like, with very confusing. So we can get the action mappings, right? And the action mappings is this. This is the thing that we're trying to find, right? But I'm really not too sure. No, action mappings is the find bit. We're not actually looking for this action key map we're actually looking for. Like, what actually uses that? Yeah, I mean, it may not be essential to. It's just annoying me that I don't actually understand the purpose of it. All we seem to do is just clear this map. I don't see any other purpose for it at the moment. Nothing seems to directly access it. It doesn't have anything added to it. The add mappings at the end of this function. One of these. Pack factory. Okay, so that's just a U input settings. And that's the action mappings, not the actual action key map thing that we've been looking at. Yeah, zero idea what that is. Let's go back and carry on and not worry about it for now, I guess. So what we care about is that it loads the input in from the settings, right? So create a player input component in the constructor. This will what was the name of the function? this. Oh, it's actually not. It's in the post-init properties. Not okay, yeah, it calls this. So in the post-init properties, reads in the map info from the input settings file. The input settings is section you access via project settings input within the editor. Okay, cool. Let's whack these with a few bullet points to make it a bit more easy to read. If one thing starts in the next sentence. Oh crikey, it's 20 past 10 already. When did it get to that time? Hoping to do a bit longer, but actually I can't. I'll work in the morning. I'll probably not be too late. Let's just try and follow this flow a little bit longer if we can. So that sets it up. That sets up our mappings, right? And then does this function have any, this class have? It must have. Ah, it's the wonderful Birdwoods. Hello there, good sir. How you doing, man? Oh, we do have a process input stack here. Wonder what that's called from. Thank you for the raid. Welcome along. Let's have a look. Where is this called? No, we don't want to find all like that. Let's just oh, it seems like it has find all isn't that much of them anyway. Player input process input stack. Okay, so that's called from the player from the player controller itself, right? Yeah, it seems so. Okay, let's have a look at this then. What is it called? Process player input is in the player controller. What you have to see on stream, Birdwoods? So this is the this shouldn't be bold. We call that. This creates the uPlayer input object. Let's indent this a little bit further, just so we know what we're talking. Which is called by the player controller. How often is it called? Let's have a look. I was playing some games from the Global Game Jam. Ah, lovely. Did you take part as well, Birdwoods? I did not take part. Don't have too much free time at the moment. I've got a ton of projects I'm trying to work on at the same time, which is often the way. Oh, excuse me. So this is called within process player input, and then this is called probably in the tick, I'm gonna guess, right? Tick player input. Yeah, and then tick player input is called within the tick actor. Yeah. Okay. So, which is called within the, essentially the tick. Well, it's actually called, let's just put this in brackets. Okay, so this will update the values. I think as we could see on the input controller, the value of the axis. So let's have a look what the function does. Then player input, process input stack. This is where it essentially is collecting the access information. It's really weird. I don't understand like this sort of stuff. I guess this is just are they I don't understand the syntax here, basically. That they're making this struct and they're kind of defining it just within this function. It's a really odd thing for me, but anyway, that's fine. You did the programming for a game called Noise. I'll have a little brief look at that in a second. Let me just finish doing this. I love how this to-dos. So we get our player controller pre-process input. Crikey, what is that? That's empty. Oh, so you can do specific things before if you want. Okay, that's nice. And then after that, it reads the events and how often they've been pressed, I guess. We don't want to go literally into every step of this, but having a little grasp of it helps. So, key state map. From accumulators to the real value. Okay, so there's accumulators which are listening for these events, I'm guessing. Key state map. Let's go back a bit. Let's not lose that yet. Let's have a look at this. The current game view of each key. Okay. So it seems that in here there's an array key state map that keeps a, how did they describe it? The current view of each key. So what we find is this will go over it, and I guess this listens for events, and in the tick, in the process player input function, it will read these events and use them to set, I don't know what we call it. Keys with events. We're kind of looking at Unreal Engine code, trying to learn a little bit more about the input system that they use. I just have on Sundays I try and do like a monthly game dev challenge where I try and pick a topic to learn about. We've been doing a lot of editor things for the last kind of 6-7 months. The last 2 months we've had off. We did charity stream in December, which kind of took up 2 weekends, and then it was Christmas and that, so we didn't bother doing it. In January, I used it on a separate project. I'd keep working on my existing project on the Sundays, but we're getting back into it this month. And yeah, this month is looking at, I want to make a minigame input system. You know those little games you have where you have key inputs to press, like typing games, for example, where you've got to spell or write something like to shoot things, or one of those. Just like you got to type words as they come up quickly, or games like Cook Serve Delicious where you're pressing keys in order to like, I guess, complete mini tasks within a mini game. That's my kind of overall objective, and we're just doing a bit of research today where we're looking into how it works before we start looking at how we're going to implement it. So it seems that it goes through the key state map. And if it has an event, actually no, hang on, does it reset them here? I don't know what they, key state event accumulator. Okay, so there's an accumulator, and then there's an event. for non-access keys, they just copy the key state across. Yeah, that makes sense. This is like some stuff to make sure we have accumulated values for like mouse input or joypad input on the axes, I imagine. Okay, and then they go through the input component stack then. Okay, we're getting deeper here. So let's just add the read the events and do some processing on the various axes. Inputs to total. No. Oh, okay, let's just say processing on various axis inputs. Let's keep it quite vague because I don't understand the guts of it and I don't really need to. Then walks over the input stack. So the input stack was at this bit here, right? So we start on the stack index of, we're going downwards, right? Top to bottom. So we get input component stack, which is on the, we already have access to it, right? Because we manage it. Okay. That's how the player controller has it via this component, this object. So it walks down from the bottom, and then it wants to make sure if conditional build key map this. Okay, so this is just basically, do we need to repopulate any bindings? Something along those lines anyway. This will be rebuilt. Was this per input component? It was. If needed. Component needed. I'm meant to be in bed now, so give me just a be right back. Like. Okay, we are back. The doggo is beautiful, isn't he? But yeah, it's 10:30 my time, and I need to get up at 6:30. So I don't see that I'm going to finish exactly what I'm doing right now. So let me just see if this function goes on for quite a while. Yeah. So we'll revisit this next time when I come into this next Sunday. But let's go ahead and check a bookmark here, shall we? So we can find it next time that we're in. There's a little bookmark thing. My work ID is set up different there. Okay. Cool. So we'll resume this next